Now, one of RSPH's biggest campaigns of 2016 is to ask the government to rethink their drugs policy and take a more holistic, public health-led approach. By decriminalising possession and transferring lead responsibility from the Home Office to the Department of Health, RSPH believes access to treatment can be improved and health harm associated with drug misuse reduced. Nick Thatcher asks, is it time to take a new line on drugs?
For decades, politicians have talked of a war on drugs. But now two leading public health organisations say it's time for a ceasefire and a rethink on tactics. In what's been described as a landmark intervention, the Royal Society for Public Health, together with the Faculty of Public Health, have called for the end of arrests and criminal proceedings for personal possession and personal use of all illegal drugs, and for a greater focus on treating those who need help and support.
So if we look over the last 20 years or so, whilst the level of use of particularly lower classification drugs has declined, the level of health harm has gone up, particularly the number of deaths. The number of deaths associated with drug misuse has more than doubled in this country over the past 20 years, and that should be a clear sign that the current strategy is not working.
The report argues criminal sanctions fail to deter illegal drug use and can act as a barrier for addicts to come forward for help. It wants a Portuguese-style system where people using drugs are treated and not punished. However, dealers and suppliers would still be prosecuted. The report also suggests that responsibility for drugs policy should move from the Home Office to the Department of Health, and that drugs education should be made mandatory.
The most effective drugs education that's done in schools, it has both a knowledge element which can be delivered by teachers, but it also has a peer education element that is delivered by young people themselves, and that has been shown to be very much more effective.
What's been described as a sea change in approach has also been welcomed by one former undercover detective who believes current drug laws only serve to hurt the most vulnerable in society.
Criminalising people who have a problem with drugs is only ever going to make their lives more difficult. It's only ever going to cause more problems for society. Because if you were just to look at it in economic terms, it is far, far cheaper to treat people who need help than it is to police it.
The Home Office, though, says its policy remains clear and it will continue to prevent the use of illegal substances while still offering treatment and recovery services. But when it comes to public health, some influential voices now believe it's time to take a new line on drugs.